Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another Ridge to Creek Outdoors Tackle Tip Tuesday. Tonight we are going to be covering bait, scent, and storage, and I hope these tips that I have for you are going to help put fish in your cooler this, end of spring, early summer. It's going to be primarily talking about kokanee bait and trout, and so I'm going to be going over corn, how I cure my corn, and the scents that I use, and the reason why I use them. And I'm also going to be going over maggots, Berkeley Gulp maggots, and I've just been starting to use these this year. And so we've been running them for a couple months now, and they seem to be effective. So hopefully I got some stuff that's going to help you guys for an alternative to corn. And so we're going to jump right in and go over my corn and how I cure it. I learned this cure from Slammin' Salmon Guide Service. He is on Facebook. You guys should go over and check him out. He put out a tutorial early springtime this year, and he did it last year. And last year is where I picked up these tips for curing my corn. And it is I do it exactly the way he showed us how to do it. And so all that is taking a can of steam crisp corn, white shoe peg corn, and you can find that at Walmart. It's $1.50 a can. I'll grab 3 or 4 at a time. And all you're gonna do is probably like the day before you're gonna go fishing. That's when I usually start my cure. I'm going to drain out all the water out of that can of corn, and I'm going to put that corn, I usually do 2 different blends of corn when I'm fishing. So I'll put half the can in one Tupperware and half the can in the other Tupperware, and I'm going to set those in the fridge for about 8 to 12 hours. And what that's going to do is, since you've removed the water from that kernel is going to shrivel up in the refrigerator. And then after the hours of sitting in that fridge, you're going to add your scent, you're going to add your color, your dye for the corn, and that's going to then expand that corn kernel, and it's going to be packed full of that scent and dye. And then I'm going to take it out, keep it cool while you're out fishing. That's very vital and important to keep that corn kernel nice and firm. Keep it cool, out of sunlight. And then when it comes to putting it on my hoochies, my spinners, whatever I'm running for that day, I'm just going to be putting 1 kernel of corn on a hook. And that seems to be really effective. The 2 blends I've been running this year have been the Triple X from Slammin' Salmon and the tuna garlic. And early spring, the Triple X was really effective. I've fished Lake Chelan twice now. In early spring, we were running Triple X, and it was really effective. And now, last weekend, I went, if you guys saw the video, if not, go check it out, solo kokanee fishing on a lake, and I was running tuna garlic. And I have experience at that lake. I fished it quite a bit, and it's always been a tuna garlic. And the difference between the two is your Triple X is going to be a lot sweeter blend, whereas the tuna garlic really, those aggressive feeders, they're really going to take to that tuna garlic because it irritates them, and they're going to be super aggressive towards it. And so those are the 2 blends of corn I've been running. This year I started running the Berkeley Gulp maggots, and that stems from a forum I follow on Facebook, Kokanee Junkie page. Lots of great useful tips on there as well, so go give those guys a follow. And that's where I learned about these Berkeley Gulp maggots. And I can only find the natural colored maggots in our store. I cannot find any pink. And so that's when I picked up a bottle of this Slammin' Sam pink dye. It actually also has UV in it as well. And so all I did was I took that that jar of maggots, and I separated it into 3 jars to have more blends of scent. And so I took an old power bait jar here, I cleaned all the power bait out of it, and so all I did was poured this, just unscrewed the cap, poured it in each of these jars, and you just let it sit for a day or two, and those maggots are bright pink and ready to go. And then, like I said earlier with my corn, I have 2 different blends. I have 3 here, regular, I have no scent in it. I have tuna and garlic, and then krill and anise. And that's a quick way to dye those maggots. They're just as effective as buying the pink ones. And so the reason why we have so many blends, let's talk about that for a second. The reason is especially with kokanee fishing, those fish might be into something at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they might be totally different at 7 a.m. And so if you're running tuna and garlic and the bite's dying down, you might want to switch over to the krill and anise, the triple X. And so a prime example of that for me was I was fishing Chelan about a month ago, and I was just using maggots. I had the krill and anise on one side, and I was taking the regular and dipping it in the triple X and sending it out the other side. And I was getting fish, it was steady, but out of curiosity, I switched over to corn, and I put, this one's triple X here, I put some corn out on one rod, and the bite was on fire on that rod. And so I switched everything over to the triple X corn. And so you want to have a variety for those times that those fish switch, and I think that's going to help you guys out quite a bit. It has helped me out quite a bit to have a different variety while I'm out fishing. You can find this Slam and Sam stuff at northwestbait.com. I'll put the link below. And also Procure garlic bloody tuna. That's something I've ran. I haven't ran this year, but I've ran it in years past, and it's really effective. And so I just wanted to jump on here tonight and give you guys some tips that I've been using this spring so far on how I'm curing my corn, how I'm using maggots now, and just the variety and why I like to use a variety. And so hopefully for first timers kokanee fishing, this is going to help you, and also the veteran kokanee guys out there, I hope this gives you a different perspective and give you some other things to try. The last thing I want to talk about is storage, and just kind of share with you guys how I store my bait. And that's I do residential construction full-time, and we had a box of leg screws at the job, and when we were done with it, I took this home, and it's just nice and empty. I keep all my scents in here, I keep my bait in here, and that just helps if the bottles are leaking, which they're going to leak. It's not getting all over the gunnels of your boat, it's not getting all over the floor. And so I highly recommend getting you a box or something to keep those scents in, so you're not stinking up the inside of your boat. So that's going to do it tonight. I hope that helps you guys out and gets you a good start on putting some kokanee and trout. This stuff all works for trout as well. I've had success with rainbows using the same exact gear I'm using, corn, maggots, for kokanee. So I hope this helps. If you have any question, please put a comment below, and like and subscribe to our page. We're gonna have more of these tutorials, tips, and just videos of our adventures. And so if you guys want to follow along the journey with us, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. Just set up an account on Google, hit the subscribe, and you'll be notified if you hit the notification bell when we have new videos coming out. So it doesn't cost anything to you. Remember that. No money. We're not making any money on this video. We're just guys. I'm just a guy, and Carl's just a guy that wants to help you guys be more successful out on the water. So take these tips with you. I hope they help. Get out on the water, go catch some fish, fill your freezer, your family's hungry, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you guys. Have a great night.